Welcome to American Dream TV. I'm your local power player, Mikhail Feifman at William Ravis Real Estate in Westport, Connecticut. Today we will be talking to a local attorney, Ken Gruder at Goldman, Gruder & Woods, the law firm based in multiple towns throughout the Fairfield County, Connecticut. Thank you for joining us today, Kenny.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about this challenging market and, living through this pandemic and adjusting to new times. What do you see in your practice?
So it's been interesting, and it's been a complete reversal of the way things were. So it's a very challenging time for the buyers, as everyone knows. A lot of competition, and competition breeds uncertainty and sometimes rash decision-making is the way I would put it.
So what would be your advice and recommendation to all these buyers who are entering into transaction without really substantial knowledge of the process or with rushed decisions?
So basically, they have to be pre-approved. They have to decide up front what their threshold is for pain. And when I say threshold for pain, I'm relating to the lack of contingencies, okay? And also, they have to be realistic about the multiple offer situation and not losing interest and or feeling defeated if they lose their first or their first 10 offer bids. So basically, the best thing to go into is with knowledge. Knowledge means, are they pre-approved for a mortgage? Do they need a mortgage contingency? Do they need an appraisal contingency? What type of inspections are they willing to live with or live without? All those types of things up front are going to help them, I think, navigate the process.
So what would be your message to this category of the buyers who are buying their first home? Let's say people moving out of the city, maybe they don't have substantial funds or savings, and they're really in this very, very difficult situations finding themselves here when looking for their first home.
Well, for first-time buyers, actually, there's a silver lining. They don't have anything to sell. So in some respects, they may be ahead of other offers, buyers who need to sell a home in order to buy the next home, whether those buyers are scaling up or scaling down. So those first-time buyers have to come into the process with the information and with decision-making power on what their threshold is with regard to contingencies. Right now, the offers are all based on no contingencies. That brings up one of the biggest issues that's been happening lately, turnarounds, which have been the holdover agreements, which we discussed, you and I previously, otherwise known as a rent-back agreement, right? That is one of the biggest changes we've seen, where sellers are basically saying, I will sell you my house with the condition that you allow me to stay in the house after the closing for some defined period of time, okay? Thereby making the buyer a landlord, short-term landlord, subject also to what their lender will allow for such an arrangement. And that is really one of the newest, most fascinating aspects of this market turnaround, has been this holdover rent-back situation.
Now, another question which me as a realtor been asked frequently is about property taxes. What is your advice to these people? What they can expect with their property taxes to happen in the near future?
Well, there's a misconception about property tax reductions. Many people think that they can somehow at any time attempt to reduce their taxes. However, you and I know that there's a limit, and it could only be done once a year during a certain defined time frame after the new year. Also, very often on residential, not commercial properties, it's not worthwhile based on the amount of anticipated savings, the likelihood of success being very low. So it's something to look at, it's something to consider, but it's certainly not something to rely on with regard to a house purchase.
So thank you very much for all these explanations today, and I'm sure that the people who are watching us today will appreciate all these answers, and that will make their life easy whether they're looking to buy or sell the house in Connecticut. They know whom to call if they need legal representation.
Anything we can do to help, we're here, and thank you for the time.